All right, so Thursday, shoulders and back. We'll start with the shoulders as always. And the first movement will be the overhead Smith press. And so we're going to make a big adjustment with this going forward. Back whenever I started bodybuilding at this gym, whenever I would hit shoulders, I would use the Nautilus overhead press machine. And I don't know why I really even switched to the Smith machine, to be honest with you, because the Nautilus machine just feels a lot better for me. I also made much better progress with that, felt better stimulation. So, with that being said, we're going to go back to that starting next week. But nonetheless, one top set here in the 5 to 9 rep range. And yeah, just didn't go great. Not making the progress we need to with this. So, I just feel like that's going to feel better. So, we'll jump back to that starting next week. All right, so second movement, as always, will be the cable rear delt flies. So we'll start with one side, go to the next, start with the left side as always, as that's the less dominant side. And yeah, we jumped up in weight this week to the 60 pound here, 60 pounds on the stack. So expecting to get in that lower half of the rep range with progressive overload. And yeah, the form continues to get better with this, just more stable, more controlled, and we're getting the right stimulation that we need. So definitely feel good about this movement. All right, so next movement will be the dumbbell lateral raises, and jumped up this week with this as well to the 60-pound dumbbells. So making the right progress that we need to with this. Biggest factor with these, with the intensity obviously being the most important. Second biggest factor is controlling the weight here, which can be hard to do with this movement. You see a lot of people flying through this, but the biggest thing besides intensity here is trying to control it as best as possible. All right, so next movement will be the cable raises. And sticking with the same weight as last week, looking to get more reps, which we did. So we're getting more to that top half of the rep range, the 5 to 9 rep range. So same thing with the cable rear delt flies, with the dumbbell lateral raises, and with this, we're just doing one warm up set and then one top set to failure, finishing with partials. Big factor with this, besides intensity and control, is we really want to emphasize finishing with partials. Going past failure just ups the intensity even more. So if you guys are not finishing with partials on accessory movements, which are movements that are not compound movements, you guys need to be doing that to up your intensity and to make more progress, to make more gains. Final movement for shoulders will as always be the barbell shrugs. And we're working with the same weight as last week, 295 here. And just looking to get more reps in that 5 to 9 rep range, which we did. So again, one warm-up set, 50% of the weight, and then one top set with the heavy weight here. And the biggest thing with this is to really just keep your body as stable as possible. Really activate your core there, keep everything tight, and just focus on the movement with shrugging your shoulders. Pretty simple movement, but it can be overcomplicated if you try to use some momentum. So the biggest thing here is be as stable as possible. All right, so first movement for back will be the weighted pull-ups. And we jumped up in weight on this. Initially, I was going to do a 45-pound plate and 2 10s for 65 pounds. However, it was a bit of a struggle to get those on there. Wasn't working, so I just said screw it. Grabbed the 25 instead, and we did 70 pounds, and it went a lot better than expected, man. I mean, it moved pretty damn well, and I'm definitely happy about that. Happy but not satisfied, because getting those 2 10s on there with the 45 was honestly like a disaster. But nonetheless, one warm-up set, and then one top set to failure with 70 pounds here, plus our body weight, obviously. And yeah, it felt really good. So if you guys aren't doing any kind of pull-up variation in your routine, I would highly suggest throwing one in. All right, so next movement is the barbell rows. So one warm-up set and then one top set with 235 here, failing within that 5 to 9 rep range. And again, the improvement that I need to make with my form here is to load the hips more and take my lower back out of it. More so like that tension you feel during like an RDL. We don't want that. We want to feel more tension in the lats. So I need to just load my hips more, bend the knees a little bit more as well to do that. And that'll just make everything better. But it got a little bit better this week with the form. So we're just looking to improve week by week with everything really. But with this, just got to load the hips more. All right, so next movement will be the pull downs on the Nautilus machine. And jumped up in weight this week by 10 pounds, and we're actually doing the maximum weight on this machine. And I'm not exactly sure what we're going to do going forward, because training with progressive overload within the next 2 or 3 weeks, or even the next week, depending on how many reps that we get on whatever movement it is, we have to increase the weight, as intensity is the main factor. So we'll figure that out within the next week, and we'll figure it out when we get there. But nonetheless, the intensity is where it has to be, as intense as possible, and controlling the weight very well here. So one warm-up set again, and then one top set to failure within the 5 to 9 rep range. Final movement, the finisher for back, will be the makeshift pullovers. And yeah, this feels pretty good as compared to probably the Nautilus pullover machine or any kind of pullover machine in general. It's probably going to be better. There's obviously makeshift for a reason. This gym doesn't have that, but working with what we got. So one top set, one warm-up set before that. And I just like finishing with this movement. Good stimulation, a lot of tension on the lats here, and just a very good finisher. So if you guys are looking for that finishing movement for your routine, I would highly suggest with this being that. So that'll do it for today's lift. All in all, went pretty well. And I will see you guys on Saturday for calves and arms. God bless.